New tonight, Melania Trump firing back, responding to Michelle Obama, who says she offered Melania Trump an open phone line, an offer Melania has refused. It's all coming out as Michelle Obama speaks out about her husband, their relationship, being First Lady, and President Trump. Kate Bennett is out front.
Former First Lady Michelle Obama in a new cover story for Elle magazine, taking another swipe at President Donald Trump while promoting her book, Becoming. This time without mentioning him by name, telling interviewer Oprah Winfrey, quote, "Progress isn't made through fear. We're experiencing that right now. Fear is the coward's way of leadership." Trying to remain positive while the country grapples with a new president. A president that Obama can't believe is not Hillary Clinton. Writing in her book, she still wonders how people voted for Trump, whom she calls a misogynist.
People have to be educated, they have to be focused on the issues, and they have to go to the polls if they want their politics to reflect their values.
And how on Inauguration Day, she witnessed a different type of celebration than her husband's.
The vibrant diversity of the two previous inaugurations was gone. Someone from Barack's administration might have said that the optics there were bad, that what the public saw didn't reflect the president's reality or ideals. But in this case, maybe it did. Realizing it, I made my own optic adjustment. I stopped even trying to smile.
One Trump that Obama isn't openly criticizing is Melania Trump.
Is the current First Lady, how do you think she is doing in defining who she is?
You know, one of the things you learn as a former, it's like, I don't judge what a current is doing, you know? So I'd prefer not to, speak on what she's doing versus what I did.
And although Obama hosted Trump for a brief welcome tea at the White House after the election, telling her that she was available for advice anytime should Trump need her, Obama's phone has remained silent.
I know that Laura Bush reached out to you and said, if you need any help, I'm a phone call away.
Yep.
You wrote about how, and have talked about how you extended that same courtesy to Melania Trump. Has she reached out to you and asked for any help?
No, she hasn't.
Asked to comment on Obama's interview and the First Lady opting out of advice, Trump spokeswoman tells CNN, quote, "Mrs. Trump is a strong and independent woman who has been navigating her role as First Lady in her own way. When she needs advice on any issue, she seeks it from her professional team within the White House."
Now, I will say this, that Laura Bush was invited to the White House. She did tell CNN recently that she was there. She had tea with Melania Trump, and she has been back. So Laura Bush has spoken to Melania Trump. Back to you, Aaron.
Interesting. Makes it feel so much more personal. Thank you, Kate. And out front now, Desiree Rogers, the former White House social secretary who has known the Obamas for decades. And Desiree, I appreciate your time tonight. I mean, we hear Melania Trump's response. Is she making a mistake in not taking Michelle Obama up, on this offer to reach out and talk?
Well, here's one of the things I would say, Aaron, and thanks so much for having me on tonight. I mean, Michelle has been so generous in offering herself and being available. Why not take her up on it? Why not have a discussion with someone who just recently served for the past 8 years? So I'm hopeful that perhaps the phone will ring and that there will be still time for a dialogue. It's early. The bottom line is she put a hand out, she reached out, and she's available, and she's still available. And so that's her generous spirit, and she's a lady, and you know what? Who knows? They may, in fact, speak.
That would be, it would certainly be fascinating to all watching to imagine what that moment would be like. I mean,
well, maybe we won't know that, which might be better. It might be better we don't know.
Probably, I have to admit, as much as we would all love to know, you're right about that. Michelle also opened up, though, about being the first black First Lady. Here's what she said about that.
So there were people who didn't know what a black woman was and sounded like, and so I knew that was going to be a challenge, that I'd have to earn my grace. People called me Barack's baby's mama, accused me of not loving my country, told me I was angry. And that was the first time I really experienced someone taking my voice and balling it up and distorting it. It was like, this isn't me. Wait, people, this isn't who I am.
How much of a struggle was all of this for her?
You know, I was there early on, and certainly there was the euphoria of winning the election and coming in, you know, as the first group to come in and serve the president and first lady. At the same time, I think, particularly in Washington and moving it, there was a lot of, you know, what is this going to be like? Is this going to be different? Because we've got the first African American family entering into the White House. I can tell you some of the incredible things that happened is, you know, just, you know, as we were preparing them to move in, to see the staff, most of which is African American, to see how they reacted to this new family coming in, and to see the amount of emotion, you know, on the face of Michelle, on the face of the president. You know, it was just heartwarming.
Now, one of the things that people are very interested in what Michelle Obama is now speaking about and writing about is her marriage. And, you know, that she's very honest about the fact that it had ups and downs and has. You know, she talks, for example, about meeting Barack Obama for the first time, which is an interesting story, right? She was supposed to be his mentor. And so they came to her with this idea. And this is the first time we heard about this part of her impression. Let me play it for you.
You weren't overly impressed in the beginning.
I wasn't. You know, I have my suspicions when a bunch of white folks fawn on over a black man, because I sort of think, okay, he can talk straight, so they think he's wonderful. So, so that was my theory. And then his name was Barack Obama. He was from Hawaii. I thought, what? You know, so I didn't really know what to expect.
What's your reaction to that, Desiree?
I think it's so honest. It's so pure Michelle. I mean, she's not easily just swept away or influenced by what others might say. And I think what you have coming out of this book is just genuine, her genuine feelings, her genuine reactions. It's not sugar-coated. This is how she honestly felt. And I think what's so great about that is many people could identify with meeting, you know, their future husbands for the first time. And so it is a very open and honest story coming from her. And of course, we now know the ending. But at that point in time, we, you know, we're following the story. So we get to hear it in her own words how she really felt.
You know, I read in one of the reviews that's out there, Desiree, that someone said, oh, nobody who's going to run for public office would do a book jacket the way Michelle Obama did. You know, they would have had a more buttoned-up look than the look that she wore. And I'd like to think that that's not true, that people could absolutely wear that and run for office. But I'm curious as to your view knowing her. Do you think she will ever run?
I don't think she'll run. I really don't. She said it often, and I believe her. I mean, she's, you know, that's not what she feels her calling is. I really think that, you know, she's opened so many doors for women and young girls. And your book cover can look like you feel. And I think that, you know, that's what she's given us. She's given us this ability to be who we are. And as you read through the book, she was just a regular girl that had enormous support from her parents, always wanted to do well, and look what she's accomplished. And I think that's really what we have here, is just kind of an ordinary circumstances, coming from ordinary circumstances, but really having this extraordinary life and really pulling others along and saying, you too can do this. You too can become whoever you're meant to be.
All right, Desiree, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Erin.